This is not my first elevator brawl, boys. Amateurs.
Oh, dude, there was a Khabib, Tony. Help me with his last name. I've got
Ferguson?
Ferguson?
Yeah. They were in Ferguson was talking about street fights, and Khabib like put a halt. He's like, "Wait, what? What street? You're American. What street fights have you been in? Tell me about your street fights. America doesn't have." I'm from Dagestan. We street fight all the time. And Tony, he was he was stuck. He didn't have any street fights to name.
We have the knockout game.
What was he gonna say? Like, oh, but you don't understand. Like, 6th grade was kind of rough for me. They met me by the tire swing. No.
Yeah, shut up, you furry-headed retard, is what he should have said, right?
Well,
that's why a lot of people like Masvidal.
Fuck Masvidal, man.
Oh, Jesus. It didn't started a fire, huh?
Yeah, Masvidal, don't get me started on that guy.
Dude, that guy is the biggest fucking poser in MMA. By the way, please don't come here. He'd kick my ass. But he was all about no trash talk for a decade. For a decade, he was talking, everyone should just shut up and fight, etc. Now he's the biggest smack talker in all of MMA. You know what he's not doing? Fighting. He won a made-up title against Nate Diaz. Badass, but what is he, like 20-12? Something like that? Nate Diaz loses all the time. Suddenly he's acting like he's a champion. Who'd he beat? Yeah. He beat Darren Till, which is a pretty solid win. Kudos. Yeah. He beat Ben Askren, which is a big question mark. And it was a 5-second fight.
That's super quick.
Yeah. Look, it's a win. It's great. But somehow I don't know what to make of that because that guy didn't have many UFC fights and it was a 5-second fight. And then he beat, Nate Diaz, who's loses all the time. I think he's lost 2 out of his last 3. You can say the same
too about Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo and the last fight.
Yeah, Woody doesn't like any of the fighters that are entertaining.
Cowboy.
He likes his
Cowboy loses.
I like the guys if his fighters are very honorable, speak little to no English, and don't care for women's rights. That's his preferred fight.
He's talking about
winning me over.
I don't think
the trifecta.
Oh yeah,
I don't think anybody goes against like Khabib saying that his background is like the.
Oh, go ahead.
I
cut you off. That his background is what?
That he's just like he's got the most hardcore background out of any fighter out there right now. Like, I mean,
Bears as a kid, that's pretty cool.
And is it Crow Cop that was Special Forces, like Spetsnaz or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Crow Cop's got a more badass background because
I've watched so many videos of him.
I love when he's having that stare down. Is it Wanderlei Silva, the axe murderer, when they have that stare down? And for your benefit, Taylor, like. There's a man known as the Axe Murderer, all right, in mixed martial arts. He's hideous, and he's trying to mean mug Crow Cop at the stare down.
His mean mug was like, the best in history. Do you want to?
And Crow Cop's just like, I have killed many men. Many men.
This is more of like what you say in America, like side hustle.
Exactly. That's what it's like. He's like, this is a fight. There's a referee. Do you know how many Afghanis I slaughtered in the 80s?
This is my version of gig economy.
And you can see the moment where Wanderlei realizes that, like, oh shit, there's nothing behind those beady Russian eyes that this guy
has. Oh no, he's been shot at.
I want to watch this.
He's been shot.
I hope it's the right clip. It starts 14 seconds in.
Yeah, I'm 14. I love this clip.
Looks like a tall dude.
He is.
Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ready, set, play. Silva was the top of the game at this point, and he is his stare down. He always does this. He also does this thing with his hands.
Prokop Mirko.
Yeah, something about that.
Doesn't seem to really give a shit at all.
Russian Eastern European guys who just like stoic. It's cool.
He's picking which side of the head he's going to kick him on right now.
Wait, was
Look
this
at his eyes?
Japan
They're following him.
It's Pride.
Oh, okay.
Which is the scariest place to do combat.
Why?
Because they allow a lot of
PEDs.
They allow head kicks while you're on the ground. I mean, if you're Bob Sapp, apparently you can fucking pile drive a motherfucker. They'll let you do a lot of things there. They have freak fights in Pride. They used to. It's not a thing anymore. It's not a thing anymore, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Pride's
they would have freak fights where they would have giants fight people. Like in the UFC, there's weight classes, right? So if Conor McGregor weighs 155 pounds, the other guy does too. In Pride, Bob Sapp would show up weighing 375 pounds. Not exaggerating.
I know.
His opponent would show up 225. And he's just like, all right, I guess this is it. This is it. Let's go.
Well, the NFL didn't pan out, so this is what I do now.
Roy
Nelson versus Mighty Mouse.
Royce Gracie weighed about 165 pounds. Very skilled Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner. Sorry. And he went up against a sumo wrestler. He was literally like 250 pounds heavier than he was, and he won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw that one. Is that where the sumo wrestler by the end is just so tired that he's laying on his stomach and the other guy's just like pounding him in the head?
No, you almost couldn't tell why he won. The sumo wrestler was on top. He had what seemed like a dominant position, and Royce Gracie was working a wrist lock, and he just bent it until the sumo wrestler tapped out, if I recall.
Yeah, and if you don't do jits, then like you don't know what's about to break you in half and what's just a pain thing. It's like, oh, that's a discomfort thing he's doing to you. That hurts real bad. You don't know the difference between that and, oh, that'll rip your shoulder out. Oh, you'll never walk again. Tap. Like
Japan leads the world in fun exhibition fighting matches. Why can't we do things like that? Don't they have a video of them like literally putting a sumo wrestler in there and then like 5 midgets who know how to fight? just to do it? Like I've
seen that awesome. Porno.
I don't think the Nevada Athletic Commission would approve that.
I don't know. This is either something that happened or a funny dream I had. One of those things.
I'm gonna help. I'm gonna say midgets versus sumo.
Dude, the NBA and the NHL are so desperate for content that they're simulating games in their video games and like saying like, "Hey, watch the Cavaliers play the Heat simulated," and it's like
they had the sign.
Oilers play the Blues.
They had the sign twirling world championships on the other day.
Twirling.
Yeah. I want them to.
These guys who stand on the sidewalk and twirl the big pointy sign and like direct you to fuck a lens crafters.
Oh my god! It's only been a week of this, and they're running out of ideas.
How
cool. 2 weeks, I guess.
Taylor, if it would be fun to watch the Oilers play, like I don't care, the Flyers, but have the players play themselves in the video game. I think that'd be neat to see.
That would be cool, but it would be terrible.
They're not.
I thought
a lot
they were
of them
doing
play
that
the
with
game.
NASCAR.
Really?
I saw that on Twitter or something where like all the guys were in simulators or something. I don't think they actually were, but I was like, oh, that would be cool if they really did that. They had like a weekly race where like they're doing NASCAR simulators and these dudes are doing like 500 laps or something.
I'd rather see them play GTA or something violent. I don't know. I'm glad that it's bad for ESPN. Like this is going to be a super. I don't like ESPN. I don't like them. I hate them. I don't like the coverage. I feel
here.
I feel like that that it's more about drama than it is about sports so often that it's kind of disgusting. And also like super unpopular opinion, I'm aware, I just don't care for most of the major sports. Like I don't get enjoying watching basketball. Like I don't fucking get it. Like
Kyle's a diehard Golden
I like college ball. I like college basketball. March Madness is always fun. I always get in a bracket. I watch it. I enjoy it. I'm usually a Duke fan. Ever since JJ Redick when I was in high school, we were always
going against the stream on that one.
Okay. I mean, he was the great white hope, right? You know, and but like I can't stand NBA basketball. I just can't get into it at all. And obviously Atlanta teams just are perennial heartbreaks, pretty much.
You guys are due for a renaissance.
We're due for a championship. Oh my fucking god! Between the Braves and the Falcons.
When's the last
I have
time
a JJ Redick thing. Did you know JJ Redick has a podcast?
No.
So I watched it, and he had Zion Williamson on. Their teammates now. Zion Williamson is the hot new thing in the NBA, best rookie probably. And they went to the same school, Duke, but years, like a decade apart. And Zion's like, you know what? Coach K still uses you as an inspiration. He says, look, if JJ Redick, like an unathletic 6'4" white guy, can make it in the NBA, then really any of you can. And JJ's like, I like to think I have a little more going on than that.
This guy's such a great outside shooter. It was fun because that's the sort of thing that I can admire from a skill standpoint. There's something about just like sprinting into the key and just shoulder bumping somebody and walking the last 8 steps with the ball clutched in your hand like it's a football. It's just like I don't think that's the game you think it is anymore. I don't
The
like
rules
that.
change. So I've been watching basketball for the last couple of years, and I still don't get it. I don't understand like where traveling starts, and like you're allowed to take one step into your layup, right? But then it's like, well, that one wasn't the step, and that was only a half step, and that's a jump. And it's like, man, it seemed like 3 steps to me. It seemed
He
like
covered 15 yards.
It seems like it turned into football right there at the end. Am I crazy?
Yeah.
Is it just me? And then
no, it's the way they play the sport.
there's more at the if you watch the old footage, like people from the 50s, they look unathletic, like they're dribbling it like they're in 8th grade or something, just like hands. That was the rules. If you touch the side of the ball, that was a carry. Now that's like part of the game. You know, these guys are doing all sorts of palmy type stuff. If you gripped it, like that's why they played like that. It wasn't because there were no athletes back 40 years ago or 50 years ago. It was because they would call them from traveling if they did anything but push down on the top of the ball.
Yeah, I